Everyone keeps complaining about game prices, but few people tell the truth. Many games deliver nothing and still charge a very high price. I've fallen for the hype plenty of times, trusted sky-high reviews, and ended up buying games that were, in practice, just okay. So I decided to do things differently. I invested in many PS4 games to find out firsthand which ones truly justify every penny. I spent a fair amount of money on them, but at least something worthwhile came out of it. A list of 15 games everyone needs to play at least once in their life.
A Plague Tale: Innocence. When we talk about a game being worth every penny, A Plague Tale: Innocence is the gold standard for AA games that punch way above their weight class. Developed by Asobo Studio, this game proves that you don't need a $1 trillion budget to deliver a visual and emotional masterpiece. Set in 14th century France during the Black Death, the game's art direction is hauntingly beautiful. The lighting, especially the way torchlight flickers against the damp stone walls of plague-ridden villages, creates an atmosphere of constant dread. But the real technical humiliator here is the rat swarm engine. Seeing 5,000 rats on screen at once, moving as a single terrifying wave of teeth and fur, is a feat of optimization that many modern next-gen titles still can't replicate without dropping frames. The story of Amicia and Hugo is a gut-wrenching journey of survival that feels personal and earned. You aren't just paying for a game, you're paying for a meticulously crafted cinematic experience where every asset, from the mud on the ground to the fear in the character's eyes, justifies the price of admission. It is a tight, focused, and unforgettable journey that makes bloated, overpriced open-world games look lazy by comparison.
Bloodborne. If you want to talk about a game that offers infinite value for your money, Bloodborne is the undisputed king of the PS4 era. Even years later, the gothic Victorian nightmare of Yharnam remains the most atmospheric setting ever created in gaming. From a technical standpoint, the art direction is doing the heavy lifting here. The level of detail in the architecture, the jagged spires, the weeping statues, and the blood-soaked cobblestones creates a world that feels physically oppressive. The trick weapon system provides a level of combat depth that encourages multiple playthroughs, giving you hundreds of hours of gameplay for a single purchase. But what really makes it worth it is the feeling of the game. Every victory against a grotesque boss like Father Gascoigne or Ludwig feels like a genuine achievement, not just a box to check. The game doesn't hold your hand, it respects your intelligence and your time. It is a masterpiece of world building and mechanical precision that still runs laps around modern action RPGs that cost twice as much but have half the soul. Buying Bloodborne isn't an expense, it's an investment in one of the greatest pieces of art ever made. God of War. In 2018, Santa Monica Studio did the impossible. They took a legendary but aging franchise and completely reinvented it, creating a technical marvel that redefined what the PS4 was capable of. The no-cut camera is the absolute star of the show here. The fact that the entire game, from the opening menu to the final credits, happens in one continuous shot is a monumental feat of directing and data streaming. You are never pulled out of the experience. The graphical fidelity on the character models, especially Kratos, is staggering. You can see every individual pore, the gray in his beard, and the weariness in his eyes. The combat feels heavy and tactile. When the Leviathan axe returns to your hand, you feel it through the screen. This game justifies its price tag by offering a perfect blend of high-octane action and a deeply mature story about fatherhood and redemption. There is zero filler here. Every secret, every Valkyrie fight, and every conversation on the boat with Mimir adds value to the experience. It's a polished, bug-free, and emotionally resonant epic that serves as a reminder of what AAA gaming should actually look and feel like.
Guess we're doing this.
Days Gone is perhaps the most misunderstood game on this list, but it is also one of the most generous in terms of content and technical ambition. While it had a rocky launch, the version you play today is a polished, terrifyingly beautiful open-world experience. The Horde tech is what makes this game a must-play. Seeing 500 individual freakers sprinting toward you over a hill, each with their own AI pathing, is a genuine wow moment that defines the power of the PS4. The way your motorcycle handles, the weight of it, the way it skids in the mud, and the need to manage fuel and repairs adds a layer of survival realism that makes the world feel dangerous. The Pacific Northwest setting is rendered with incredible fidelity. The dynamic weather system, which can shift from a sunny afternoon to a blinding snowstorm in minutes, isn't just for show. It actually changes how the enemies behave and how your bike handles. With a story that spans over 40 hours and a post-game that keeps you coming back to clear the remaining hordes, Days Gone offers a massive amount of high-quality entertainment for your money. It's a gritty, soulful, and technically impressive ride that proves that sometimes the underrated gems are the ones that give you the most bang for your buck. Red Dead Redemption 2. Saying that Red Dead Redemption 2 is worth every penny is, in truth, an understatement. What Rockstar Games delivered here isn't just a game, it's the most detailed and technically advanced open-world simulator ever to run on a console. When you pay for this title, you're buying years of obsessive attention to detail, from the way snow dynamically accumulates on Arthur Morgan's clothes to the global illumination system that makes every sunset over the plains look like a living oil painting. The real value lies in its systemic fidelity. The world does not revolve around you, it exists in spite of you. The physics of the horses, the interactions with NPCs who follow fully realized daily routines, and a narrative that stretches beyond 60 hours without ever losing its emotional momentum create a level of immersion that completely humiliates any generic $70 release of 2026. You can feel the weight of every dollar spent when you realize that nothing here was made using shortcuts. It is a digital monument that redefines what PS4 hardware is capable of, delivering one of the saddest, most human, and visually striking stories ever told in gaming. It's an investment that will stay with you forever.
Detroit Become Human. Quantic Dream is known for its cinematic experiences, but Detroit Become Human is where they reached the peak of both technology and narrative branching. If you hate paying full price for games you finish in a single afternoon and never touch again, Detroit is the answer. The sheer number of choices and possible paths is so vast that you would need to play the game at least 4 or 5 times to see the most important scenes. From a technical standpoint, the facial animations and motion capture still look next generation even today. You can see doubt, fear, and hope in the very pores of the protagonist's skin, Connor, Kara, and Marcus. The neon lighting of a rain-soaked, futuristic Detroit creates a flawless sci-fi atmosphere that justifies every single frame. The real value lies in the respect for your agency. Your choices don't just change a line of dialogue at the end, they can lead to the death of major characters and alter the fate of an entire nation. It's a big-budget, interactive drama that delivers a level of narrative density that makes modern interactive movies feel like cheap first drafts by comparison.
Resident Evil 4 Remake feels like nothing more than lazy texture updates made for easy cash, but what Capcom did with Resident Evil 4 Remake is a masterclass in respecting the fans' money. They took a masterpiece and rebuilt it from the ground up using the RE engine, delivering a visceral visual experience where mud, blood, and rain interact realistically with the environment. The combat was refined to be more dynamic, allowing Leon to use his knife defensively, creating moments of mechanical tension that are incredibly satisfying. The value here comes from polish. The game is tight, virtually bug-free, and driven by a relentless pacing that keeps you glued to your seat from start to finish. Beyond the robust main campaign, you also get the Mercenaries mode and an absurd level of replayability thanks to multiple difficulty settings and collectibles. It's a game that doesn't waste your time with generic open-world busywork. It focuses on the pure survival and action experience. It's the perfect example of why paying for raw quality and technical refinement is always worth it. Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is possibly the most artistically beautiful game of the entire PS4 generation, and it justifies its price through an art direction that borders on perfection. Sucker Punch didn't try to create purely realistic graphics. They crafted a visual style where the wind guides the player, and every field of flowers sways with the fluidity that feels straight out of an Akira Kurosawa film. The value here lies in total immersion. The sword combat system is technical and lethal, making you feel the weight of every katana strike. Unlike other games that nickel and dime you with skins and fragmented DLC, the complete edition of Tsushima delivers a massive island, an emotional narrative about honor versus survival, and a cooperative multiplayer mode, Legends, that is so deep it could stand as a game on its own. Ultra-fast load times, even on the aging PS4 hardware, and impeccable optimization show immense respect for the player. It's a game that gives you peace while exploring and pure adrenaline in combat, ensuring that every hour invested is rewarded with visual beauty and mechanical satisfaction. Horizon Zero Dawn, when Guerrilla Games, a studio known for linear shooters, announced an open-world RPG featuring robotic dinosaurs, many people were skeptical. But what we received in Horizon Zero Dawn was one of the most impressive technical achievements of the PS4 generation. The value begins with world building. The Decima engine delivers dense vegetation and volumetric lighting that make the post-apocalyptic Colorado feel like a real, living place. Every piece of metal on the machines, such as the colossal Thunderjaw, is rendered with textures that show wear, rust, and complex electronic components that can be individually targeted and torn off during combat. The investment is justified by the game's tactical depth. You don't just shoot the machines, you study them, set traps, and exploit elemental weaknesses. Aloy's journey to uncover her origins stands as one of the most original science fiction narratives of the decade, delivering a story that neatly ties all its loose ends together. It's a game that constantly gives you a sense of discovery, where every new tribe and every new machine you encounter reinforces the feeling that your money was spent on a complete, polished, technological work of art. Marvel's Spider-Man. There are games you play just to finish, and then there is Marvel's Spider-Man, which you play purely for the joy of moving through the world. Insomniac Games created the best traversal system in video game history. Swinging through a vibrant, richly detailed New York is a therapeutic experience that never gets old. From a technical standpoint, the game is a beast. The rendering distance lets you see from the top of the Empire State Building all the way to the edges of the island with astonishing clarity. The value lies in the absolute polish of the gameplay and in a narrative that understands Peter Parker as well as the best comic books ever have. Combat is fluid, inspired by the Arkham series, but with the verticality and agility that only Spider-Man could deliver. When you buy this title, you get a cinematic main campaign, dozens of iconic suits, not sold through microtransactions but unlocked through gameplay, and side content that expands the lore of this universe. It's the kind of game you finish with a smile on your face, knowing that every penny spent was converted into pure fun, adrenaline, and visual fidelity that makes the PS4 feel more powerful than it actually is.
Mass Effect Legendary Edition is unbeatable. If you want to talk about a true smart investment, Mass Effect Legendary Edition is unbeatable. You're not buying a single game, you're buying an entire trilogy of space RPGs that defined an era, all remastered with 4K textures, improved lighting, and reduced load times. The value here is astronomical. We're talking about over 100 hours of narrative where your decisions in the first game can drastically affect the ending of the third, years later. BioWare created a rich universe filled with alien races, galactic politics, and squad mates who become genuine friends to the player. Watching the visual evolution of Commander Shepard and the Normandy across all three titles is an epic journey that justifies any price tag. In a market where companies charge full price for 8-hour campaigns, getting 3 masterpieces with all DLC included in a single package is a level of respect for the consumer that we rarely see today. It's the definitive science fiction experience, offering a narrative density and universe scale that very few games even attempt to reach. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Closing out this section, we have the game that became the gold standard for RPG content, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. CD Projekt Red delivered so much value here that it reshaped expectations across the entire industry. What truly humiliates modern games is that even the simplest side quest in a forgotten village in Valen has better writing than the main campaign of many current titles. Visually, the game is a moving painting. The way trees bend during a storm and the way the sun sets over the swamps create an atmosphere of total immersion. The value is immeasurable. Between the base game and the Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine expansions, which on their own are larger than many AAA games, you easily get 150 to 200 hours of exceptionally high-quality content. There is no filler here. Every monster hunted, every Witcher contract, and every game of Gwent feels like an essential part of Geralt's life. It's a game that makes you feel like you robbed the developer, given how much content and soul they packed onto a single disc. It's mandatory for anyone who appreciates a great story and a world that truly feels alive. Mafia Definitive Edition? A lot of remakes are just lazy cash grabs, but Mafia Definitive Edition is a ground-up reconstruction that sets a new bar for how to respect a classic. Hangar 13 took the 2002 original and rebuilt it in the Mafia 3 engine, delivering a 1930s lost heaven that is visually breathtaking. What makes this worth every penny is the cinematic polish. The nighttime lighting, with neon signs reflecting off puddles and the chrome of period-accurate cars, creates an atmosphere so dense you can almost smell the cigar smoke. The character models and facial animations during cutscenes are top tier, making Tommy Angelo's rise and fall in the Salieri crime family feel like a high-budget Scorsese film. This isn't a bloated open world filled with icons, it's a tight, 15-hour linear epic where every mission feels unique, from high-speed chases to intense shootout set pieces. You're paying for a premium, handcrafted experience with zero filler. In an era of unfinished games and live services, Mafia Definitive Edition stands out as a complete, polished, and visually stunning package that respects both your time and your wallet. Elden Ring. If you want to talk about bang for your buck, Elden Ring is probably the most generous game ever made. From Software took the Dark Souls formula and expanded it into a gargantuan open world that somehow maintains a level of hand-placed detail that is unheard of. The value here is in the sense of discovery.
You can play for 100 hours and still find a massive underground city or a hidden boss that you had no idea existed. Technically, the art direction humbles titles with much higher budgets. The scale of the Erd Tree towering over the lands between, the twisted architecture of Stormvale Castle, and the haunting beauty of Cypher River are visual landmarks that you'll never forget. You are paying for a game that doesn't treat you like a child. It doesn't clutter your map with icons, it lets you explore. With hundreds of weapons, spells, and builds, the replay value is practically infinite. When you buy Elden Ring, you aren't just buying a game, you're buying a 150-hour obsession that sets a new standard for what a complete game should look like in the 2020s. The Last of Us Part 2. Love it or hate it, there is no denying that The Last of Us Part 2 is the most technically advanced game ever released on the PlayStation 4. Naughty Dog pushed the hardware into a realm that shouldn't even be possible. The level of detail in the animations, the way characters' eyes track threats, how they react to pain, or how they realistically struggle during combat is light years ahead of the competition. What makes this worth the investment is the sheer production value. Every blade of grass, every piece of broken glass, and every drop of rain on Ellie's skin is rendered with obsessive care. The combat is visceral and smart. The enemy AI is terrifyingly human, flanking you and calling out to each other by name. This is a massive 25 to 30-hour narrative journey that pushes the boundaries of storytelling in gaming. You are paying for the highest level of craftsmanship the industry has to offer, a game that looks, sounds, and plays better than most titles released years later on much more powerful hardware. It is a brutal, beautiful, and uncompromising masterpiece that justifies its cost through sheer technical and emotional density.
Looking at this list, it's clear that a game's value isn't just about its price tag, it's about the integrity of the development. These 15 games prove that when a studio respects the player, they deliver experiences that are bug-free, content-rich, and visually stunning. We live in an era where hype is sold more often than quality, but these titles are the exceptions. They are the games that, even years after their release, still feel like a bargain because of the sheer amount of soul and sweat poured into them. Buying a game shouldn't feel like a gamble. It should feel like an entry into a world that was built for you to enjoy every single second. But now I want to hear from you. Which game on this list do you feel gave you the most value for your money? And is there a game you bought recently that made you wish you'd just replayed one of these classics instead? Let's talk about it in the comments.